Hi, it's Marie, time to sparkle and shine, and I'm delighted to be back again doing my one-to-one interviews. I met this lady and she was her job was so fascinating that I felt that I had to go and interview. And I'd like to welcome Teresa O Brien today.
Thank you, Ray. Thank you for inviting me here for the interview.
Oh, you know what? This is no hardship at all, so it's not. So, Teresa and I both share, as in we both trained as nurses. So I think, women in particular, that nurses have a life's work where they feel they need to evolve and grow and help women or help people in life. So, Teresa, you trained as a nurse.
I did, yeah. I trained as a nurse back a good few years ago, 25 years ago maybe, and I worked as a nurse for about 12 years between travelling and this and that, and then I was always a little bit unsettled with the nursing. I suppose deep down knew there was something else.
Yeah.
I think I entered nursing with still the same values that I have today around helping people heal and an interest in the body, and through the nursing. And when I left nursing then, I was very fortunate to get a job in community development full time, and I got very much exposed, and through my own healing, particularly of physical pain that I had, got exposed to different coaching methodologies like NLP, energy therapies like emotional freedom technique, I was saying that, integrated energy therapy, all this kind of healing work, and really delved in for the last number of years in that, and then in the last 4 or 5 years I just set up my own business, delivering workshops and seeing clients in a one-to-one. So I suppose with that, in the last few years then, I realised that the clients that were coming to me, and a little bit of private work, and through even my own circle, a lot of people were coming, and some of the issues they have was unresolved or unheard grief. And also I did have an interest in being able to sit with the dying.
Okay.
And that whole area. So that's where the doula came up.
So what Teresa does and what she's training for at the moment is called Doula for the Dying. So tell us a little bit more about that. So what does a doula mean, really?
So I suppose a lot of people that would have heard of doula would associate it with birth doula, and that is somebody who assists somebody during the pregnancy, birth, and after the birth. So now also there's called end of life and death doulas, and also they're called soul midwives or end of life coach. I use the word doula at the moment. So for me, and it has so many different aspects. So for me, it's very much sitting with somebody. It's a non-medical support to somebody in whatever stage they're at. So it's usually is the person who would contact is the person where I would give the support. So whether if it's the family, it's to the family, or if it's the person themselves, I would give the support to that person. And what is that support? That support can be anything from just sitting, from just chatting, and then from very practical stuff like maybe providing options of funeral arrangements and all that kind of thing.
Okay. So you bring in the practical aspect.
Bring in the practical aspect. So, and I know, I did, and I'm still completing some projects in my doula, monthly projects in my doula training, and we did the training with Red Tent End of Life Doula in the UK, and Alexandra Wilson came over to Sligo there during the summer, and we had an excellent training, and the people in the group were so many different walks of life. There was social workers, there was people that volunteered in the hospice, there was care workers, and there was people also who had was looking after a parent or had just lost somebody and required that support as well.
Oh, so this was afterwards as well. So that is fantastic, because there are things that in life that have big impact on us, when we come home with babies, like as women come home, but the loss after a parent, you know, to have
Yes.
support during that time is just phenomenal. Dealing with the grief and the coming to terms with it and the physical loss of the person in our lives.
Yeah.
So I know that, you know, you're always evolving and growing. So was there one particular incident that happened that said that you supported somebody and you said, you know what, this really resonates with me?
Yeah. Well, I know, like, as you know, when you're a nurse yourself, I did come across and sat with people who had died, and I suppose it was in quite a clinical environment or whatever, and you know, that was fine. I always had this, I was always comfortable around those situations. Then I know there I was minding a lady privately, just as companionship, not through nursing, there for about four or 5 years, one night a week. And that was about 4 years ago, and she ended up, she died about 4 years ago, and I remember the last 3 nights just sitting with her, and that was it. And I realised that was all she, you know, really required at that time. And you know, while I suppose the family were you know, going around doing all the stuff, you know, sometimes it was a requirement just to have somebody sit there. And you know, studies show that even when people talk about their physical pain, it can ease that, and when they talk about their fears, it can ease a lot of it. And I suppose with the doula, it's not to fix anything, you know, because there's nothing to fix, you know. And I suppose during that, afterwards, Cody thought, you know, that is a nice thing, but never realised there was such a thing as a doula, you know. And I suppose as well, we talk about endings and beginnings and all of that, and I suppose life being a cycle, because during the birth, you know, there is the end of the maiden, there's the end of the fetus, there's certain grief process there as well. There's the birth of the mother, the birth of the baby. So it's like, and you know, we do say things transition, they don't die, but there's things that they die as we know it. If you know what I mean.
There are natural endings.
There's natural endings. And I suppose sometimes we have an ending or you know, maybe in our childhood, or we were talking about ancestrally, or whatever it is that hasn't been processed or hasn't been dealt with. Any ending and beginning of anything in our life would become difficult. You know, whether that's in a job, whether it's in a relationship, whether it is, we'll tend to cling on and have attachments and stuff like that. So, you know, and I'm still doing monthly projects in the training where I have to really delve into my own life, in my own attachments and
our own issues,
all the stuff, you know, in the family and stuff like that, which has been interesting and is a process. And that's why during the training there's actually no pressure at all. That you know, it's very much.
Well, that's fantastic, because you know, the process, life is a process. And you know, the older I get, the more I realise that we cannot push things, that there is a certain time and there's a certain process that you have to go to. And it's the same for, you know, somebody gets a diagnosis, then there's the process of, you know, of being supported through all of that. So how long more will the training be, and when do you go online?
We are ready to practice.
You're ready to practice.
We still have a monthly project for about 12 months, and we, you know, it's great support. We have a group Zoom every Monday and Friday that we can pop on, and we all bring. It's just amazing, you know. We'll all bring, because I find even, and maybe, you know, it's like the lead up to the doula training, so many conversations have happened. And even my 3-year-old nephew there last week, we had a big conversation about death. And he
what a great time to be awareness.
And you know, a couple of things that got stuck on that I went back to the group and asked, and I'm aware that I'm not his parent either, you know. And that, but very pragmatic questions, you know. He asked, and you know, when somebody asks, they're ready to hear. And I was.
That's beautiful.
I was thankful that I was in a comfortable space myself, just to be able to have that conversation. You know,
what a great, because so often we try to protect. And you know, who are we protecting? Ourselves, really, from having to give maybe answers that we don't want to give. Whereas, as you say it, if they're asking the questions, they're ready to hear in some shape or form.
And I suppose as well, part of the training, you know, there's what they're calling death cafes, and they're set up in Cork, and Limerick and Dublin, and I see there's one in Navan and one in Sligo last week. So it's just very casual, people coming together having conversations like this, and it's to get the conversations and normalising them, because I was even looking at it the other day, they were saying 1 in 3 is cancer, 1 in 3 would get mental health issues, all of that, but everybody, 1 in 1 is going to die.
You know, some things are inevitable, so they are. Yes. And you know, to be prepared, even for yourself, to know that you can help yourself. That it's not the fear. You know, I went through with my dad, and I must say, bless him, he was so accepting. You know, that it was his time, and it was great. And you know, to have conversations with him, and he could see certain positives of the family coming together and the support, and you know, which was lovely. And I can honestly say I can totally get where you're coming from, because for me it was a privilege to be in that position where I could be with him, as in just physically, even just sitting beside him, and I, you know, it was something I did for myself as well as for him, spending as much time as possible, because I can honestly say that when he died and we were all there afterwards, that it actually made a big difference for my grief. My process afterwards, because I had given myself beforehand the time to be. And that was just, you know, it didn't mean I didn't grieve. I did, but the process was a lot easier than it would have been. The letting go was a lot easier, and the knowledge that he was totally in a better place than, you know, the physically going through the pain that he was. So Teresa, thank you very much for coming in today. How can people get in contact with you?
Well, I have a Facebook page, Teresa O Brien, and Instagram, Wellbeing for Life, and I have a website, teresaobrien.ie, Teresa with no H. You won't find yet a lot of information on the doula, but you'll find my contact details, and if you ever want to have just even a chat over the phone, that's fine, because that's what I want to do, is even just get the conversation started, get people talking, and to normalise conversations, and it's not about stopping grief or whatever, it's actually about bringing it out and allowing it to process, and you know, allowing that natural kind of force that we all have to come through,
and that healing ability, that when we allow things to happen, that we can actually heal them and let them go. Beautiful, absolutely gorgeous. So for those of you that want to go on, Teresa, your Facebook page again is
Teresa O Brien, Wellbeing for Life.
Wellbeing for Life, and that's on Instagram
as well, on LinkedIn, and also my website, teresaobrien.ie, Teresa. So
well done. Thank you very much, Teresa, a lady very much after my own heart. So from me, Marie Nugent, Time to Sparkle and Shine, and from Teresa, Wellbeing for Life, we want to say goodbye. Bye.